What's up everybody, welcome back to another video. In this video I want to talk about WordPress roles and capabilities, aka permissions. Now this is a very important topic for those who have a website that has multiple users that can either add content or edit content to your site, and you want to make sure that the user has the role that gives them the capability to do only what they need to do and nothing more. And if you have a website that only you manage and only you add content to, it's still beneficial to learn about roles and capabilities because you might want to create a membership type platform and you can create custom user roles. And there's a benefit to having an administrator account and an editor account, particularly for security reasons. All right, so over here, I'm on my localhost. I'm using the WWP theme that I created a very long video on right here. WordPress theme development tutorial with WWP. This is almost 5.5 hours long, but it's very detailed in how to develop custom themes. All right, so over here, let's go to the dashboard real quick. What I want to do is go to plugins and show you a couple of plugins that I'm using when reviewing roles and capabilities. On my active plugins, this is what I currently have actively installed. But the ones to focus on are the Members plugin, the User Role Editor plugin, User Switching, and View Admin As. All right, so if we go to Users, we see I have 5 users over here. We have the Administrator. That is the most powerful role on a single site installation. Then I have an Editor over here, second most powerful, an Author, Contributor, and Subscriber. If we go over here to Members, we can look at the roles and see the roles here as well. Here you can see how many capabilities are granted to each individual role. So for the administrator, we have 61 capabilities are granted. For the author, only 7. For contributor, only 3. For the editor, there's 26. And the default role of subscriber, there's only 1. So now if you want to go over here, you can look at user role editor and we could see what capabilities they have over here. Now, this might be different in terms of the number of capabilities you see, depending on what plugins you have installed. But it's a good idea to see what capabilities are available there. Go to subscriber over here, click on that, and go to contributor, and then see what we have here. As we saw before, there's only 3 capabilities enabled for this role. The ability to read, edit posts, and delete posts. Now, a contributor can create a post, but they cannot publish it. You see, that capability is not there. It's not checked off. They also cannot create pages. All right, so then we go to author and see what they have. Now they have more capabilities. They can delete posts, delete publish posts, edit publish posts and read and upload files. But they can only do that for their own posts. One thing you'll notice is that a author cannot publish pages. So this role is really for someone who's just blogging on your site. Now the difference between an author and a contributor is that a contributor can create a post, but they cannot publish it. It needs to be reviewed, and typically it'll be reviewed by either an editor or the administrator. Now if we go to editor, we can see they have a lot more capabilities. They can delete other pages, delete others' posts, delete pages. They cannot delete plugins. They could delete posts. They could delete private pages, private posts, and you see what's checked off here. They have roughly about 26 capabilities based on the installation I currently have. That number again can be different depending on what plugins you have installed. Now if we go to the administrator, we don't see it here yet. So we have to go here to settings, user role. I'm going to check off show administrator role at the user role editor. I'm also going to show the capabilities in a human readable form. And let's show the deprecated capabilities as well. Now if we go back to users, user role editor. Now we see the administrator role there. Click on that and you see they have every single capability on a single site installation. Again, if this is a multi-site installation, the super admin role would have even more capabilities. But the vast majority of people have a single site installation. So in that case, the administrator role is the most important. All right, so now let's take a look at this in action. Let me go over here. I have this article here, John's first post. Now remember, there was a couple of other plugins that I used. So now let's go here, view as. We can view it as John Smith. So now you see I'm logged in over here, at least temporarily, as John Smith. So now you see that the admin bar changed. There's a couple of features that are no longer there. So if I go back here, reset to default, you see they come back. All right, so now I'm back to John. So now here, I can edit the post. Let me remove this and update. I can view the post and you see that's gone. If I go to the dashboard over here, as an author, you can see what I have the ability to do. I can add a new post, look at all posts, and see that I only can see my post. I can upload media. I can view the comments. I can see my profile page. And notice here I cannot change my user role because as an author, I don't have that capability. But if I go back, reset to default. So now I'm logged in as the administrator. I can go to all users. Let's say go to John, click on edit, scroll down, and here you see I have the user roles there. Administrator, author, contributor, editor, subscriber. So author is checked off for John. Let's switch back to him. And when it comes to tools, there's nothing here for me. All right, so now let's go back to that article. I'm going to change to Jane Doe. That's an editor. Now, the fact that Jane is an editor means that she can edit the post as well. Let me go back, reset to default, go back to John, make sure everything here is correct, update, go to Jane Doe, and now I'll just put in this sentence here. Editors can change content from other users who have lesser capabilities. Click on update and view post. So Jane was able to edit John's post. All right, now let's go back to default over here. All right, so now let's change to a contributor, Kim Smith. Let's see what she can do. Let's add a post. I am going to just grab the lorem ipsum from here, and I'll just add it there. And then you see here, I cannot publish it. I can only submit for review. So I can preview the post, but I cannot publish it. All right, so now let's change to the editor. You see Kim's post is not here. Let's go to the dashboard. Let's go to posts. And then you see Kim's post over here. This is where the editor or the administrator can go in, take a look at the content, make sure it meets their editorial standards. And then if they like it, they can publish it. View the post. And now you see on the front page, the post is there. All right, so we took a look at most of the roles. But now let's preview the site as a subscriber. All right, so now you see that pretty much everything else on top here has disappeared. If we go to the dashboard, you see the only thing they really could do is take a look at their profile. So the subscriber role has the least privileges of other roles when logged in. Now a site visitor, they can't see a dashboard. They're not logged in, they're not subscribed, they don't have any roles or capabilities. Reset to default. All right, so now I can go back to the dashboard. I'm logged in as the administrator. The other plugin that I showed you was the user switching, which is a little bit different than the view as. You can switch to, and now you see I'm switched to John Smith. Over here, I can switch back to demo, which is, for my account, the administrator. Go to users again. Let's take a look at the capabilities here, and we see what they have. John Smith can delete post, delete publish post, edit publish post. You see the deprecated capabilities over here. And you see that their primary role is author. I go back to all users. Now, if you want to create a new role, you can add a new role with the members plugin, add new. You would give it a name, and then you give it a custom capability. Let's say you have a membership-based website. You can create a couple of roles. Or let's say you have a gold membership. You would enter the role name here, give it a capability. Let's say if you're selling a PDF or if you're selling something that's to be downloaded, you have the capability here assigned to that specific role, and the person who might purchase your product will be given that role and capability. You can also use a role editor. You can add a role over here as well and also add capabilities. Now, it's definitely useful to get familiar with user roles and capabilities in WordPress. Get a local installation. If you want, what you could also do is download an SQL file of your primary site, your production site, and then clone it or duplicate it into your local installation so you can review what roles and capabilities people have on your website. This is helpful if you don't want to use some of these plugins on a production site. It's ideal to use most of them on a development site. The members plugin can be used on production and the user role editor, but sometimes you don't want to use other plugins on a production site that you really don't need. I like to do a lot of testing locally, and then once I'm confident in what I'm reviewing or changing, then update them on a production site. If we go back to the front of the site itself, I'm also using a query monitor. I can do a capability check over here as well. If you don't see that with the Query Monitor plugin, then you can go to your code editor, go to your WP config file, and basically this line of code right here, this constant Query Monitor enable caps panel, set that to true. Now, if you want to see the code behind roles and capabilities, you can go to the file in the WP includes folder called capabilities.php. Spend some time, look at the different functions here, look at the documentation notes, and get familiar with how this works. Let's go back to the front of the site. Now, if we go to phpMyAdmin, you're going to see that over here in the WP users table, I have my users over here. If you click on edit, you see the user login. This is the password that's encrypted. So for whatever reason you ever get locked out of your website or forget your password, you can use phpMyAdmin or you could use Terminal to SSH into your server, and you can actually change the password here. Let's say I want to make it a different password. Then go over here. You have to select MD5 and then go. Now if I go over here, I'm logged out. Now if I want to use, I'm going to put in the wrong password. It's going to show me that I can't log in. So if I go back here, edit it again, this time I'll put it into the password that I'm going to have it set to. Now, password's been updated. I'm able to log back in. That's why it's very important that you secure your web server. Everybody thinks about security when it comes to their website and all the measures you can take to protect your site. But if somebody can tunnel into your web server, then depending on how you have your server set up with permissions, they could potentially change a lot of very important information from there. So make sure you secure your web server. All right, so now if we go back here, if we go to WP user meta, you see the user ID 1. You see the nickname, first name, last name, description if I had one there. You can see what's enabled. You see the capabilities right here for this account. And then if we go to Jane, you see she has the editor capability. So that's a lot that we covered in this video. I wanted to show you how to work with WordPress roles and capabilities, aka permissions. It's very important for you to get familiar with that, especially if you're going to have people contributing content to your website. Make sure they only have the role that they absolutely need to have. An editor can be somebody that you completely trust. Otherwise, give the person an author role if you're familiar with them and their work. And if you're trying somebody out in terms of seeing if they're going to be a good fit, then give them a contributor role. That way you can review their content and they do not have the capability to publish it. All right, so hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you want to learn how to create a custom WordPress theme, check out this video here, WordPress Theme Development Tutorial with DevWP. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification icon so whenever I create new content, you'll be notified. And as always, thanks for watching and happy coding.